it's going to be, but it's always hot. Okay. So we don't know what so it goes.
Good morning.
You should have let you got the projector going for you.
Oh, good. Okay. Okay, so if you were watching our computers, I was not supposed to do the talk today. Yeah, Catherine Peterson was supposed to be here, and unfortunately she had a family member that was ill, so I stepped up to the plate. I was supposed to chair today, and I had not really prepared anything beforehand. I was working on a lecture for a few weeks from now to talk about whales and elephants and how spiritual they are and how they affect our lives and hold the spiritual realm around our world. A lot of people do not know how important they are. So instead, as usual, I got up at 4 o'clock this morning to put a talk together. My favorite thing to do. Okay, so I call it, Where Do I Go From Here? Understanding how natural law works and why can help us to understand the reasons why things happen to individuals, emotionally and mentally. As the creators of our own existence, we see how evolution needs to be a gradual process to transform the energies to allow us to direct our thoughts, to bring balance and direction in our lives. We are like beings that acclimatize to our world on a daily basis. Some of us do this willingly and go with the flow, and others resist change. Those of you that resist change have a lot of issues. A new source of light is now reaching our solar system and interpenetrating Earth's magnetic field, altering the biological rhythms. This is forcing us to leave behind the old-time self-perception on the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. So the thought patterns that we often were raised with are out the windows. Just take a look at our kids today, how in tune and aware they are, and you know that those parameters don't fit anymore. We are now more aware of a higher mental frequency, allowing us to be more connected to the light forces of the universe as our physical bodies become less dense. And I literally mean that. We're all raising our vibrations to a much higher realm. And part of this is so that the radiation around us doesn't affect us as it has in the past. As we become more balanced, we begin to spiritually work with higher vibrations, energy grids, activating more of the universe around us. This also is restructuring our DNA as part of the overall change. Do you get that? Okay. We're redoing our DNA. And if you look at the kids around us, Barb talked about this last week, the rainbows, the crystals, all of that, the indigos, they're of a different frequency than we are. They're much more perceptive and aware than most of the older generation, myself included. We must understand that the geomagnetic reversals and the changing of the electromagnetic density are necessary parts of the recycling of the human biochemical process as humanity passes into a new body of light. However, we must also understand that there's no fixed time scale in these changes from a standpoint of a singular relativity. In other words, we can talk about the changes coming up, but we can't give you a definite, this is what's happening. We know in the past this has happened because our Earth has shifted many times. And we know that things are affecting us on a cellular level much more than they used to. And this is what I'm talking about, okay? The time factor is determined by sliding criteria of events on a galactic and planetary scale matched with spiritual activity. So, if you really want to progress, keep meditating, keep doing workshops, be open to everything that Spirit is encouraging you to do. The awakening of our higher consciousness is achieved in many ways. As we each align with these new energies, we begin to realize there are many ways to enhance our lives. So where do I begin to explain some of the work I was drawn to? As I was doing the research to support my studies as a minister, I became aware of how important the natural laws were. Spirit assisted me to put together the natural laws course to show others how everything is interlinked and how we think affects the future outcome in our lives. Meditation leads me to taking a course in hypnosis and then in trance. I will give you a very brief overview why this was important. Beta level is the normal wide awake state. We're all in beta right now. Alpha is the level just before entering sleep, often attained in meditations and relaxation exercises. How many are doing meditation daily? Okay. That puts you in the beta level. Theta is the semi-sleep or fully consciousness. This is where most of the mediums do the readings from. Okay. They're also a little bit deeper sometimes, but that's where most of us work from. The delta level is the deepest level where thoughts flow freely and rapidly. Also where dreams seem to last all night long, but in actuality happen in just a few minutes of actual time. A trance champion has trained himself to hold that state for an extended period of time. In our organization, the perfect example of that is Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet. Here you have access to the universe, the Akashic records, which translates into infinite space. So you say to me, Alva, what are the Akashic records? Well, the Akashic dimension was created as an interface with the universe or higher knowledge, what we know as God. So we can count or recount all our thoughts, intentions, dreams, actions, relationships, faux pas, successes, karmic credit cards, past lives, sneezes, farts, even coughs. Don't fret. The records are sworn to secrecy. Lord knows our brain isn't big enough to hold it all, and there are not enough sticky notes in the world for the magnitude of data. So we have at our disposal the ultimate information backup and retrieval system. It is truly the record of everything. The guardians of the records determine your readiness and integrity of the information you're given. That's important. The guardians determine your readiness and integrity of the information you're given. You don't need to know everything. You don't always need to know why or how. If you haven't gotten to that level, you won't get it. This is where I have been devouring information to understand the process and the wisdom within the records to assist others. The other area I have been researching in the last few years ties in from a medical perspective. All living things, including human beings, vibrate at specific frequencies. Each sound color blends with primordial sound to heal your immune system. Each sound and color supports specific healthy cellular organ function. So here I'm talking about biofeedback, which Ron does. I'm talking about our meditations. I'm talking about the work we do in the classes. Whenever we do any of this, we're working on a cellular level in order to balance everything that is happening within, okay? And so I've carried it on a little bit farther. Let me give you a few examples of illness, okay? Bruises, all right, and I'm talking megahertz and hertz, okay? So bruises happen at a 9.1, a 110, or 1,000 hertz. That's a vibration, okay? Cataracts, and I'm giving you simple ones, I'm not getting into it. Cancer has, like, it goes on to infinity, because it has to do with what's behind the virus or the bacteria that's causing this dis-ease or illness within. Cataracts are 1830, 720, 784, 800, 880, and 1000, depending on the cause. These are hertz varies. Pneumonia can be 135, 283, 742, 776 hertz. Again, depending on the viruses associated with that particular form of pneumonia. Did you know that there's more than one form of pneumonia? You forgot. One of the wonderful things I love is a homeopathic remedy, okay? One I wanted to share with you is arnica. It's a topical healing herb, okay? And when you put it on, it starts to energetically balance the bruise, the cut, the broken bone. And it's 1042 or 1032 in hertz. Isn't that interesting how everything is tied in? Every vertebrae can be balanced through vibrational frequency of music, color, and it also relates to the zodiac. See how everything is coming full circle, how we're beginning to understand how everything is tied in? So let's start with the top of the spine, the first vertebrae, very first one. It's called the first cervical. The color associated with it is magenta. The sound varies between C and F sharp, which vibrates at 256 up to 349.2 cycles per second. And the zodiac sign is Pisces. So if you're a Pisces, you could possibly have a problem with that vertebrae. And so it goes down the vertebrae in the spinal column, okay? Now, that's why I had you sing Do-a-deer. Do-a-deer is the frequency of 528, or the key of love. And it brings forth faith, bravery, love, joy, and allows healing to take place. So we did healings just before this. This was balancing and helping to produce more healing for those that sat in the stools. Isn't that interesting? Then I was drawn to in-light wellness, which is infrared lights. Let me explain. My husband won't let me do a damn thing for him. He's a man, and I'm married to him. You can never help your partner. So he's had energetic blockages. He still smokes. And I'm happily married, so I'm not going to tell him what to do. But I had to find some way to help him because his toes were starting to turn blue. I started by putting on oil of oregano and turning them pink. And then I started doing more research and talking to other people around me in order to help him. And I was drawn to this in-light wellness. Let me explain what it does. Once I turned his toes pink and I did this research, I went out and bought this $6,000 piece of equipment and I used it twice on him. So now I use it on everybody else. Light energy is the process by which energy is delivered to various parts of the body via light-emitting diodes and is absorbed by the cells. Think about the sun. This is what our sun does. The various energy wavelengths penetrate the skin to different depths and provide the energy cells needed to activate, increase circulation, and stimulate cells to release nitric oxide. It's non-invasive, cost-effective, and risk-free. Although too much healing, light can put you in a healing crisis, just like any other modality. Okay? It can bring on too fast, right? Okay. So it works on 3 settings: on the physical, on stress, and on anti-aging. I love this machine. What I love with the lights is that there are 7 specific frequencies. We've been talking about frequencies. Vibrations and hertz are frequencies. That's why I was so drawn to it. It starts with the endocrine system at 73 hertz and works on all 3 levels of the skin, right down to the bone for inflammation, infections, and chronic conditions up to 4698 hertz. So it works all in between that. Nitric oxide increases blood flow to injured and damaged tissue. So it dilates vessels which are already present at the site of the light treatment and increases the formation of new capillaries to replace damaged ones, thereby carrying more oxygen and nutrients needed for healing. It also stimulates ATP. I always have trouble pronouncing this. Adenosine triphosphate, a major source of energy produced by cells to allow nutrients faster absorption and eliminate waste products quicker to maximize cell function. I love the fact that it can decalcify the pineal gland in 20 minutes. Oh boy. Do it before our reading and see how clear your readings are. Right through the roof. I love this stuff. This really impressed me. Another benefit is that it can balance the meridians and help with SAD. Everybody knows what SAD is? Lack of light, sunshine. Really bad winter this year for a lot of us. But it helps with stress, spinal issues, broken bones, and circulations. Light is the main ingredient of the cells. Therefore, flooding cells with this much light makes the cells more efficient by increasing their ability to get the nutrients into the cells and move the toxins away from the cells. I'm just scratching the surface of the research that I've been doing, and I felt I wanted to share some of the things. This is not to tell you to come and see me with what I'm doing. This is to encourage you to, what are you drawn to? What do you want to do to move forward, okay? I believe that the unexpected can happen for anyone. My husband happened to be the source of my needing to do this work. I don't know what your need is, but that was my need. We are source, so there is the connected state constantly. But how we think dictates it to where we're going. I plan to continue to search, to evolve spiritually. My prayer is that you dig deep and believe in yourself. To paraphrase Glinda, Good Witch of the North, you've had the power all along. Namaste.